How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, but let me ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
Who cares?
Anytime you hear Mark Carney talking about trade with the US or tariffs on Canadian exports, you should just say, who cares, change the channel, and tune him out, because that was his message to you. So you know what, Mark Carney, this part's especially for you. On behalf of the millions of Canadians you've let down and insulted, every time you open your mouth in Parliament, our message to you, who cares?
Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. Happy New Year. We've got Andrew Scheer, the Conservative House Leader, and also the funniest guy on Parliament Hill. He's going to drop the gloves to elbows up here with the Financial Post. He is going to explain and expose what Mark Carney has done and not done this year and what we can expect moving forward. Andrew Scheer on fire at the Financial Post. Let's take a peek. This should be wicked. Let's take a look.
Hi, Andrew. Let's talk about some of the political and economic themes for 2026. What does the year ahead look like from your vantage point?
Well, there's a lot of reasons to be concerned. There's no sign of a deal on tariffs with the United States, even after Mark Carney promised he'd get one done by July. I know that's weighing on the minds of many people who work in industries like steel manufacturing, the auto sector, softwood lumber. We've already seen a lot of layoffs in those sectors across the country. We're heading into the end of the year. That's always a tough time for families. So, we're certainly thinking about all those people who have lost their jobs recently. And we know that 2026 is going to have some challenges because of that. The latest Liberal budget did nothing for productivity, to help Canadians produce more, to hire more people, to sell more of our goods. There's still not a single project on the major projects office. So Conservatives are going to be coming back in when the House resumes in early 2026, pushing the government for relief for Canadian families and workers and major changes so that our economy can start firing again, so that we can get more people working.
Let's talk about the trade file and foreign policy, the relationships not only with Washington, but I guess the broader global trading community, if you will. I guess, number one, what will it take to get a CUSMA deal done again? And is this a relic of a document?
Well, first of all, we should point out where we are today. The situation with tariffs with the United States under Mark Carney is actually worse than it was when he first became Prime Minister, worse than when Justin Trudeau was still Prime Minister. U.S. tariffs are higher and apply to more things. We now have Canada's now slapped with new tariffs from China and from India. Not a single new trade deal implemented since Mark Carney became Prime Minister. So that's very concerning. I should point out that Conservatives are the party of free trade. You know, it was the original free trade deal that Conservatives championed, that all other political parties opposed. So, we are glad that at least now there's consensus on free trade in Canada, and we would certainly urge Canadians to consider this the Conservative Party that has had the best track record on getting free trade deals for our country. The Conservative Party believes in free trade. We believe that countries always benefit from free and open access to each other's economies, so we can sell more of what we make and grow best, and Canadian consumers have access to products like that from other countries as well. Both countries in a free trade deal benefit when those goods flow back and forth freely. So we're certainly going to be pushing the government to get the best possible deal for Canada. The U.S. is still our largest trading partner, despite these unfair and unjustified tariffs. So we believe that we need to both get a good deal on trade with North America, with Mexico and the United States, but we also need to sell more of what we produce around the world to other countries. The previous Conservative government signed dozens of trade deals, so we have an excellent track record on that. Former Prime Minister Harper was able to secure a deal on softwood lumber and a deal for an exemption on Buy American. So our leader, Pierre Poilievre, will certainly be able to make that case to Canadians. It's the Conservative Party that has the best track record on getting new trade deals and preserving what we have, at the very least preserving and not getting things, not letting things get worse. I should just quickly point out that when Mark Carney was running for Prime Minister, he made this the central theme of his campaign. He didn't just say that it was an issue. He said it was the issue. He said he would move at unimaginable speeds. Those were his words. Well, when we heard that, we thought he meant unimaginably fast. It turns out he meant unimaginably slow, because there's just zero results on the trade file from Prime Minister Carney.
Let's talk about a really optimistic point, I guess, when it comes to Canada's productivity and economic growth. Mark Carney's government tabling a budget which talked about generational investment and talking about ramping up all kinds of infrastructure projects, from ports to railroads to pipelines, which will undoubtedly give Canada's economy a tremendous boost. Everything from everything throughout that ecosystem, undoubtedly something that you must be optimistic about as well.
Well, first of all, there's a common saying in journalism, big if true, right? This is words on pieces of paper, but so far zero results. I would just point out that what Mark Carney is doing is he's creating a system where he gets to pick winners and losers. Conservatives believe in a level playing field for everyone, that all companies, all business owners have the ability to compete through the same rules that apply to everybody else. What Mark Carney is doing is he's granting himself special powers. He gets to pick with Bill C5 which projects go on a major projects list. He's put wording into his budget allowing his ministers to bypass laws for their selective companies. Now he's going to Bay Street and saying, hey, if we hire some of your executives to put them in regulatory bodies or departments which are responsible for writing rules and regulations, why don't you top up their salaries? Well, if one of your viewers or one of your readers is not given that access, what are they supposed to think? How are they going to compete against companies that have executives on the inside of government, both writing the rules and then competing in the market as well? Every country on the planet that has given the government the power to pick winners and losers, to have special rules for some, but huge regulatory burdens for others, have turned into an economic basket case, because investors want to pull out and put their money and create jobs in countries that have a level playing field, rules that don't change. So that's what conservatives are fighting for, not special deals where Mark Carney himself gets to pick winners and losers and decide which companies gets to be profitable and which companies have to go through the massive amounts of red tape that he has later on. So I'm not optimistic when the government's approach to an economic downturn, or with the need to boost the economy, is to grant themselves special powers and get the government even more involved in the economy. What we need is a government that's going to lower taxes, cut red tape, say yes to things, get big projects built, not layer on more and more rules, but then give themselves special powers to pick those winners and losers. So you'll pardon me if I'm not as optimistic as Liberals are as to the benefit of this budget, because I foresee a world in which there's actually less consumer confidence, less investor confidence, because anybody who's not on that special list, who doesn't have that special access, won't see a fair deal in Canada, won't see a fair path to succeed.
Andrew, just lastly, what should Canadians be thinking about this new calendar year?
Well, I hope Canadians think about what Canada could be again. We're an amazing country full of amazing people in so many different regions, and life has gotten so tough for so many people, but it's all fixable. Conservatives have a vision to restore that promise of Canada, where if you work hard and play by the rules, you can have a good life. Young people can move out of their parents' basement. People with jobs can afford to put food on the table. It's all there. We just need a government that literally just gets out of the way. Conservatives have a vision to sell more of what we take out of the ground here, sell more oil and gas to other countries in the Pacific with a pipeline to the West Coast. We would get that done immediately. That means a stronger dollar. That means better purchasing power. We can have safer communities. It's not a mystery why crime is raging rampant in Canadian communities. It's because of liberal easy bail laws and lowered penalties for repeat and dangerous offenders. We have what the world wants. We have abundant natural resources. We have the highest quality food and the crops that we grow. We just need a government that supports our job creators, that sets level playing fields for people to compete on, to attract investment, and a government that will tackle inflation by ending the inflationary deficits and money printing that the Liberals embarked on for the last 10 years and are continuing under Mark Carney. So that's that's the vision our leader Pierre Poilievre has. He's working tirelessly to connect with Canadians and bring that vision for Canada in every corner of the country. And I hope Canadians look forward with optimism that under a Conservative government, we can absolutely restore that promise of Canada and make Canada the type of place where you can succeed, you can sustain a family, where working people don't have to go to food banks and don't have to be afraid going to their cars after work. That's the vision that we have for this country, and I know that's the kind of country that Canadians want.
Yeah, but let me ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
Who cares?
We'll wrap it up right there, gang. Aaron, Canadian Looney, let me know in the comments if you think Andrew Scheer is a good politician. Do you not trust this guy? There has been controversy in the past. I like Andrew Scheer. Let me know in the comments. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. That's it. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. Thank you for watching this video. Happy New Year. We'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.